Hey guys, welcome back to Thread and Glue Designs. Today I wanted to share with you an order that I received. I purchased from Tonja Wilcox Art and Good Honey Watercolor. These are handmade watercolors, and I thought we would open it together here. And in the package, when you open it, there is a brochure of Good Honey Watercolors, handmade in Sacramento, California. And their website is www.goodhoneywatercolor.com. And it's a thank you for our order. And it tells you that I'm unique. Each one will have a unique look. Some look quite pretty and perfect, and others definitely carry a handmade look. This does not affect the quality. Your paint is naturally sticky and is formulated to prevent cracking and being overly dry, making it easier to reactivate. Pro tip: some pens will benefit from adding a few drops of water using a dropper, spray bottle, or a clean paintbrush to wake up your paint a few minutes before using them. That's really pretty. And then there's the invoice that I got. And she was really good to work with because when I had ordered the primary mixing set, the Trifecta Limited Primary Palette. And in that there are 3 colors, and they're mini pans. They're not half pans or whole pans. They are mini pans. And for that, oh, it doesn't have my pricing on here. I thought it would. But I also ordered the primary mixing guide only, and I didn't realize that that came in the Trifecta set. So she contacted me and asked me if I would like her to refund that. And I asked her just to add a another paint color in there. So she was really sweet, and she picked me a half pan of paint and gave me a honey dot of another color in place of it, which was real sweet. She didn't have to do that, and I am thankful for that. So as we open this up, it is wrapped nicely. This one came in this bag, but it stuck, so I had to take that out. And it was the half pan color and the dot. And it is very sticky to the touch. It's the dot one she gave me is manganese violet, I'm sorry. And this is the little half pan, and it's Mars Crimson. Let's just open it up. It does feel moist, but that's going to because it's made with honey. And they're wrapped in these little foil packages. Oh, and they are in little pans. It's a little clear pan. How pretty is that? Yeah, it's just a little tacky, not bad. And so that one is the crimson one. I'm going to put that on our palette. And then in this package should be the Trifecta set. And it is. These are cute little bags, aren't they? Have a little B on it, Good Honey Watercolor. We have quinacridone magenta. In a cute little pan as well. Put that down here. Then we have Phthalo Blue. These are good mixing colors. That's why it's the Trifecta set. I just wanted to be able to try the paints out and see what the difference was between the store-bought pans and the homemade ones. Phthalo Blue, beautiful. And this one is Nickel Azo Yellow. If I like these, I will be working towards making a full palette of them. I did order a palette, it just hasn't come in yet. Uh-oh, well, it says it's Nickel Azo Yellow. I guess it is, but it's really dark. I thought you guys could see that. I'm so sorry. Here is the magenta, Phthalo Blue, and Nickel Azo Yellow. Then we had the crimson one. I don't know if you were able to see that, so I'll pull it back out. Crimson. And manganese violet dot card. And so those are the colors that I got, and it has a mixing guide with it. So we'll move this aside and pull our guide out. And it's Good Honey Watercolor Trifecta. PR 122, quinacridone magenta, PY 150, nickel azo yellow, Azo, PB 15-3, phthalo blue. The perfect primary palette and mixing guide. Oh, very nice. It tells you what to mix to get what colors. Very handy. And they're upside down from each other, so I guess you can just flip them over easy. And this is how to make the oranges and the greens, blues and neutrals. And then it has a primary color wheel of mixing to get these colors. Very nice. So I sketched us up a little picture so we could go by it and try out these colors and see how they perform. But first I thought we would swatch them here on the opposite page and just see what we're working with. So I did, where did I put my water? Oh man. Let me put you on hold. I gotta go get the water. Hang on. Okay, so I'm back. I have our water, and I did order some pipettes, and this was the cheapest way I could see to order them. It was like $3 and something, but you get 50 of them. Lord only knows what I'm gonna do with 50 of them, but that was the cheapest way to get them. And it's just little pipettes that are measured. So I'm gonna drop some water on each one of them. Make sure there's no extra hairs or anything. And we'll put our little card right there. Okay. Give those just a second. I drew up a sketch of a little fairy. I was inspired by Kathy Arbor. She has been doing some fairies on her channel, and they are so stinking cute. If you get a chance to watch them, you should really check them out. She's really good with watercolor. And I can't believe she actually did it on regular copy paper. I don't know how on earth she is doing it on regular copy paper, but she is, and it looks amazing. So, I need to pull up one more size at least of this brush. Okay, I'm going to first start out with the silver black velvet brush to do our swatches. And the reason I'm using this is so that you can see the difference of how the two brushes perform. We'll start with this first one, this magenta. Well, it activates pretty easy. And so we have it here. You'll notice that the brush itself just kind of conforms to where you're putting it. It doesn't actually keep a shape. And that's the hardest thing about these brushes for me, because I'm not used to that. What I'm used to is acrylic brushes, and they actually bounce back. Okay, this is our phthalo blue. Oh, it's pretty. Look how pretty that is, y'all. Very nice. And then we'll do this nickel azo yellow. Wow, that surprises me. I mean, I know what it should look like, but the pan is so dark, I expected it to be much darker. All right, let's do this crimson. Oh, it's really deep. It's pretty. Wow. Love that color. Very nice. Now we'll do our violet, and that will be all of our colors. They activate so easy. No problem with them activating. Very nice. Okay, very pretty. I'm just working on mixed media paper that I put in this little book, but it would definitely probably work better if you used watercolor paper. So let's see, what do we want to do with our little girl? Let's do her skin first. What color do we want her skin to be? Do you want her to be a little bit green, or do we want her to be a little orange? I'm thinking. We do have neutrals. None of them are as light as skin tones that I'd like to try. And it does say that these require experimentation to get the color right. So I appreciate her telling us that. Let me get this other brush out so I can show you how it works. I think we will mix a little of that Azo Yellow, obviously. And let's try a touch of that magenta and see what happens. Okay. So that gives us this color, which is totally off. Gives us an orangey color. Let's try what it does if we do a little bit of the blue in with the yellow. And I'm pretty sure what we're going to get there is the green, and it is. Okay. You notice when I'm using this brush how it doesn't conform to the paper itself as much as it keeps the shape and lets me move it where I want it. That's what I really like about these Princeton snap brushes. Okay, well, let's add a little crimson into the blue and yellow mixture, just for fun. We've got a little bit of a brown, which is good. We're heading in the right direction. We really need a little bit of white, I think. Let me see if I've got, do I have a white here handy? No, those are acrylics. Let me grab a white. I know, watercolors don't use white, right? But I do. Because I'm normally working with acrylic. I think this one's supposed to be white. I got these from my Mama Duck, her house. So I'm not sure how old it is or if it even works. So, but it's not opened. So I'm going to try to open it and see what we come up with. Put a little bit of white. Oh, it's kind of separated. Yeah, it's pretty old. We'll try it anyway. Okay, we'll take and put in our mix a little bit of white. Let's see what kind of concoction we come up with there. Yeah, that's better. Getting there. Maybe just a little bit more white in that. I think I might have it a little too light. Put a little bit of this other in it. Okay, that's much better. I like that for a starting color. Not bad. So I am going to take my brush and I'm going to work on the outside edges of her face. I should be using a smaller brush, but we will work on it and see what we can come up with. And we have her neck. And of course, we've got to work on these hands. And her little tummy that's showing. This is a very suggestive drawing. It's nothing very fancy. There we go. We got our little belly in there. We got some legs here to do. And get our color in there. We might can work on it. And I'm probably doing this backwards. I think with watercolor, you're supposed to start with your darker colors and work into your lighter colors, but I never have. I just can't seem to ever remember to do that. So this is how we're doing it. It's an interesting pose to draw. This little legs backwards kind of thing. Okay, let's rinse our brush out. And we're going to use just water. Kind of spread that around a little bit in there. I am just now learning to use watercolors and gouache right, so do not expect perfection because you're not going to get it from me. But you don't learn until you try, right? So you notice I'm not re-wetting very often. I'm just re-wetting very little because this is mixed media paper and it will peel up on you. I've had it do that. So just a heads up if you're using this kind of paper or anything that's not watercolor paper. I hope she turns out cute. I don't know. I have trouble when I try to draw stuff like this that I paint it up and it looks all weird to me. I don't know if you guys have that problem with some stuff, but that's how it works in my world. Okay, we're going to add a little bit more of that yellowy color to it, and a little bit more blue and a little bit more crimson. Get us a little bit darker color to work with. Now that's a little too dark, so we're going to add some of the white. There we go. That's better. Okay, and I'm going to rinse that brush off and work with this smaller brush. Oh, this is a round size 1. And we're going to go around and put a little of this everywhere there should be a little bit of a shadow and kind of work that in. There'll be a shadow on her little tummy here on the sides. And there'd be a little shadow here by her sleeves. Got a little too much on that one side. I'm going to take some of that off. I got something on there. And I have no nails. See, it's starting to peel up because I used too much water. Just be aware of that when you're working with yours, that mixed media paper doesn't take water the greatest. Be a little shadow where this leg kind of bends. little bit of shadow right there where her foot bends. Okay. And then we're going to work on her face a little bit. There'd be some shadow around where her hair is. And some on the side of her face. And we're going to get some water on that because that's just too dark and too much not like watercolor. And it would have helped if I'd have brought some paper towels in here. All I have is a wipe that you said we're going to try it. It may be way too wet to put on there, but I took a little bit of it up. There we go. Much better. We'll work this in a little bit. I want that big old harsh line there. Okay, so next let's make those wings blue. I just think it'd be so pretty if it was blue. Let me get the bigger brush back, and I'm going to get the silver black velvet one to try out. I know it's going to be way too thirsty, so I'm just kind of blotting it off a little bit over here. And I want these wings to be a little bit darker on the outer edges. So we're going to go around the edge. Harder to keep the form with this brush, remember that. I hope she's turned out so stinking cute because Miss Kathy's looked amazing. Her little guy just made me smile so big. And I was like, I've got to do something like that. That's the whole point of art, is to make you smile. And it made me smile. So I definitely wanted to do something like that. Okay, I rinsed my brush out and I'm taking off a little bit of the water because we don't want too much. And then I'm going to kind of feather those edges a little bit and just blend them out some. I really like this blue as a wing color. It's so pretty. And I'm just moving this pigment around so we can kind of get that in our little nooks and crannies. If you do watercolor and you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them in the comments. Please be kind. I am a very newbie at this, so I'm not looking for any hate comments, just looking for constructive criticism that would help. Got that out of the way. Okay, let's put our little blue around our outer line of this one. I put my hand in it. Don't put your hand in it. I am a lefty, so everything comes from the opposite side for me. I'm going to definitely use some green on that hat that's going to be like a little leaf. And then the base that she's sitting on is like a pile of leaves. So we'll use green for that. Why I skipped this middle section, I did. Okay, let's rinse our brush out and just use straight water. Tap it off first. We don't want too much water going on and mess our paper up. Very nice. I love that color. Put some more in this corner. These paints are really easy to activate and spread around. I'm going to put a little bit more blue in these corners just because I like the starkness of the darker color around it. So pretty. I am a colorblind artist, for those of you that do not know, and so having a mixing palette like this is very helpful for those of us that are. And I know I'm not the only one, there are several. But you can't let anything in life keep you down. You have to work for what you want, and I want to do art. I want to have fun, I want to enjoy it, and so I'm going to. Little bitty spot there that's just not. There we go. Got it. Okay, how cute. How cute. Okay, so we know what we're gonna do with is green, so let's just make us a green with this other one. And our palette says to use nickel Azo Yellow and Phthalo Blue. So we'll get some nickel Azo Yellow up here and mix right there. And put a little water in it. Get us a little Phthalo Blue. Wow, that mixed up quick. The Phthalo Blue was much more active than the nickel Azo. Nickel Azo is almost drying. It's kind of sticky feeling. Here's a pretty green. It's a much darker green than I expected. We need to lighten that some for our first rounds. So I'm going to get some of that white and stick in it. Okay. I'll put a little bit more nickel Azo in it. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So let's do her little hat. We're just going around the outside edge with the color because we want it to just kind of fade out in the middle. Isn't that a vibrant green? Look how vibrant that is. That's crazy. I've got way too much water there. I hope this will pick it up. I did. Good. Super cute. Kind of push that out a little bit when I wipe that up. Okay, we're going to do this little area down here. Get some more paint so I have something to work with. We'll do this side with the snap brush, and we'll do the other side with the silver black velvet brush. And I'm comparing them because everybody seems to be absolutely in love with the silver black velvet brushes. So that's why I bought it to start with. but I haven't been able to fall in love with it. So I'm hoping maybe I'll end up falling in love with it. One day maybe, guys, one day. Okay, and get a little bit of water on our brush and work this in. Ooh, that is very dark on the edges. I kind of like it though. Kind of like the contrast it gives. I don't know, what do you guys think? Is that good, being a contrast there? I think it adds to it. Okay, that is the snap brush. And I'm going to get out my little silver black velvet brush, and we're going to do our edges with it. See how much easier it kind of folds and goes along the edging? It's harder to keep a nice precise point with them, which may not be a big deal for watercolor artists. I don't know. That's just kind of what I've learned to use with acrylic. My hands are super shaky the last few days. I don't know why. I have not been able to get them to be still. Okay, we're going to rinse that out and get just water, but we're going to tap it off because this brush holds a ton of water. Making sure you could see there. I'm trying to learn a new editing software. It's called DaVinci Resolve 17, and they have it for both Mac and PC, and I have a PC, so I've been working on it, and so far I've gotten a video ready except for doing the voiceover, and I've gone through the steps that it says to do for the voiceover, but for some reason it just doesn't seem to be playing the recording that we're doing. You can see where it is recorded us talking, but it just doesn't seem to show. Like, you can't hear it when we play back. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'm getting a little heavy by that foot. You don't want it to take over where the foot is. I'm going to take our brush and get a little water off and see if we can suck some of that back up in it. A little bit. That ought to help it a little bit. I'm going to take the green though on the very tip to try and, I don't know, I'm trying to get that foot to look like it's a foot in there and not just a big blob. I think I defeated my purpose of drinking up the water out of it by doing this, but live and we learn, don't we? All right. Okay, we're going to leave that foot alone before I mess it up really bad. Oh, we missed part of our little blue there. We need to fix that. Okay. What color do we want her clothes? We need to think about that. It's got a lot of nature-y going on. I don't want to like mix too much in with the greens. I'd like to kind of let it stand out some. So we haven't used that manganese violet yet. I guess we could do that for her clothes. Yeah, we could do the violet. We could do a couple shades of violet according to this. So we'll use the manganese for our dark part, and then we will go in. Yeah, I need to get that little small brush for this, little detail brush. Well, where did it go? There we are. Okay. Our little detail brush, and work around her little skirt. If you hear a noise in the background, I'm sorry, my daughter is making a smoothie. And that little ninja thing is just not quiet at all. I'm just going around this little thumb here, making sure we get that little triangular shaped area. And her little tummy. This brush gives you some nice control. Love how fine the details I can get with it. Went over my skirt area. Oh, I'm just going over my leg, aren't I? Well, I guess we're gonna take that part of the leg off. Oh my goodness, I should have paid more attention. I'm going to get it a little darker around the edges down here, and then I'm going to mix up a lighter purple, I think, for the top area. I think that'd be fun, kind of a little ombre. Okay, let's see, what do we need to do to make our light? We need 1.5 parts of magenta to 2 parts of blue. So let's do our blue here. 2 parts of blue. 1.5 parts of magenta. So 1, and we're going to call that 5. And we're going to put some water in it for lightening. Get this water with this bigger brush. It's still not quite light enough for me. Put a little white in it. And more water. Should be using my little pipey thing. Yeah, I think I can work with that. May not be quite light enough, but let's just put a little more water in it, just to make sure. That should work. Still not light enough. It's just as dark as the other, isn't it? Okay, well, we will just go light. Fill in our other stuff, and then we will come back with just water. Okay, just water this time. There we go. That gives us our little light ombre look. Get some more water on that brush because it's so tiny it doesn't really hold it. So you kind of got to have more, get more with it each time. Too much water that time. I see it floating. Okay, we need a little bit of the darker in the edges. It took too much off. There we go. That's looking better. Make her little waistband, a little dark waistband. Okay, now we got to do her shirt. I'm going to start with that real light color first. And I'm going to use the bigger snap brush. See how much more water it picks up? It picks up a whole lot more water. Very nice. Okay, now we can go back in with our detail brush and the darker, which will be awesome. I think I'm going to try just using that straight up violet, manganese violet, and see what it does. Got a little too much on there for this little bitty brush. It blooms a lot. Okay, not too bad. I want it to be really separated from that skin, so I'm just kind of pulling it up some. Okay, let's get some water on our brush now, and we'll work on feathering that out some. That may not be the correct term in watercolor terms, but that is the correct term that I'm using for today. Okay. I think she's looking cute. I've almost got a heart shape there where the colors changed. I didn't mean to do that, but it kind of happened. Let me fix that a little bit. There we go. That arm looks awful light compared to the others. A little bit of water. See if we can't move that a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. So much better. Just differentiating that sleeve from the rest of it. There. I think I like that. Okay. So we've got her some clothes on. What color hair do we need? Wonder what. Let's see. Guess we could make her a little brown-headed baby. To do that, we need all three primary colors. A little bit of that, a little bit of this, and a little bit of this. I think I need a little more of that yellow. I gotta wipe out my mess I made in it. There we go. That looks like a pretty good brown for hair. Definitely need a detail brush for this. I'm just taking some of that paint from the other side that has so much of it and putting it over here. It's really dark on this side. Just kind of going in curly kind of motions just to suggest her hair texture in there. Okay, looks like we need to take a little bit of that green. I hope that's what I'm picking up. Kind of work the edge of this hat some. I don't want them to run into each other, so I'm trying not to touch the edges together, but okay. I think that we'll put just a little bit more of this blue on the outer edges of our wings, just because I really liked it having that little bit of difference. So just little thin bits. We are going to use colored pencil on this once it's dried, and kind of do a little more details, maybe details in her face, that kind of thing. I'm just coming in with a little bit of clean water. Well, water, I don't know how clean it is. Get a bigger brush. We'll use that red velvet brush. Yeah. Don't want it to look like it's just completely outlined. I want it to be kind of feathered in some. Yeah. Now back to our detail brush. And we're going to touch the edges there again on the other side here. Well, that's not near as dark as I thought it would be. There we go. We're just using the straight phthalo blue on these edges. Okay. Hope I touched it up on the top with that blue, didn't I? There we go. little bit of water. That out a little bit. Not so harsh. Okay. Okay, now we need to dry our little girl, and I will be right back with you. Okay, so we're back, and we are going to be using Prismacolor Premier pencils. And let me see if I can get you closer. Would that be better? Okay, and let's see what color we want to grab. That's ginger root. Don't think so. There's beige. We'll try a little beige in there. Kind of help add a little more color in places around her. What is this? Crimson Lake. Let's do that for her lips. Maybe if it's not too dark. Oh, it's too dark. Here's a blush pink. That'll be better. Just suggestive. Nothing perfect, you know. Little blush on those cheeks. Okay, and need a little bit of a darkness kind of under here. Probably need to change pencils to do that though. Let's try this French gray. See if that'll do any good for it. I kind of like that French gray. Give a little bit to these hands that are behind. Okay. This is a darker French gray. Let's try it for the, yeah, that's much better. little bit for her little knees. Definitely in the crux of her leg there where it bends. Basically, I'm just outlining these legs. I want them to stand out a little more from that back. See. Okay. I've got this cloud blue. Let's see what it does on there. Not much, does it? Let's kind of blend those edges a little bit. Okay. I don't like her skin. I don't know what I've got wrong with it, but it ain't right. I'll put some light peach in there. Kind of over the whole thing and see if that helps it. Okay. Well, I'm not sure, but I think this is about all that our paper is going to allow us to do much of. I'll put a little yellow highlight around her, since I haven't done anything on that part of the paper. Probably could have done it with that yellow watercolor. Would have probably been smarter. A lot easier too. Why yellow? I don't know. I just thought I needed it. Just a little haze all the way around her. Just to give it something to kind of blend it back there more and look better. I could nitpick at this all day. I'm sure we all could. But if you try it, I'd love to see it. Post it on Thread and Glue Designs Facebook page and let me see what you're doing. I'd love it. Maybe one day I'll get a fairy as cute as Miss Kathy Arbor's. It was just too stinking cute. If y'all haven't seen it, you really should go check it out. It was just the most adorable little thing. Okay, I think that's where we'll leave her today. And that's our little fairy. I hope you guys had fun, and don't forget about these watercolors. This was from Good Honey Watercolors, and they really were a delight to work with. They were really soft and smooth and easy to mix. So if you haven't given them a try, you might consider it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.